What is up, guys? Austin here from the All or Nothing Show, and I wanted to take a brief moment before this episode starts to please ask you guys to leave us a review or share the episode or podcast with a friend, whether it be on your social media. If you do that, tag us. We'd love to see it. Or it could be a friend that just you happen to be talking to about what podcast you've been listening to lately. If you get any type of value, entertainment, or perspective change on your way of thinking, we'd love to hear about it. So leave us a review. This show is just us expressing our journeys through life, creating businesses, and stronger versions of ourselves. We're hoping that sort of relays and hits you guys and gets you inspired and motivated to go out there and get some yourself. As always, keep moving forward and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
All right. We in this bitch.
Yeah, we're live. We're back.
Hey, guys. It's the All or Nothing Show.
We're on like a, what do you call it?
We're coming day and night.
Well, yes. No, first come, first serve. We're on like a by request. That's what I'm thinking. By request podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been lazy with it. And part of that is, we had like Memorial Day yesterday. Sometimes you're out. Sometimes I'm busy, whatever it is. And I feel like our schedules don't normally align on the same day like they used to. But then I feel like you get the occasional DM that's like, y'all got to keep up with the podcast.
Yeah.
Or where's the podcast? And I'm like, okay, that's right.
I get it.
We do have 5 people that listen, so we need to give them
Much
give them
love.
the juice. Yeah, much love.
But I do get like a message at least once a week.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all doing a podcast this week? Whatever, blah blah blah. So it really does mean a lot, since we have been over 100 episodes so far.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy to think about. It doesn't seem like 100, but at the same time it does. It feels like we've been doing this for forever, but at the same time it hasn't been that long.
Well, we're on a full 2 years.
Are we?
Because we started before the pandemic, and it's
you're
2
right.
years past pandemic.
Right.
So
Damn.
we're over 2 years of just talking shit to 20 people.
Mature shit.
But
talkers.
hey, we started at like 0, now we're
Yeah.
at 20. So it's evolution. Did you get a new ring?
No, so
That thing
actually,
looks thick as shit.
yeah, it is. And it's still too big. So I bought a set off Amazon for
Yeah.
like $12. It came with like 12 rings.
Yeah.
And they're all like a half size too big.
Yeah.
And I lost the metal one.
I know that.
I know
Oh,
kept-
you fully lost
found
it.
like a couple times.
You
around the
fully
gym.
lost
Yeah, I
it?
fully lost it. I gave
Damn.
up on it. Plus, I don't know.
Oh, I do remember I found it one day, and I was like, is this yours? Yeah.
I'd put it in my pocket because I don't want to lift with a metal
Yeah,
one.
no,
I can
of
lift with this
course,
all
of
day,
course.
which is a rubber ring for anybody not watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amazon, check them out. I need to, and until I lose these big ones, I'm not buying a new set. I'm just gonna wear the
Yeah.
loose ones until I can spend another $12.
Yeah, I had a few that were free, and then I had one that came with the metal ring Maddie gave me. And within the week of being married, I had lost my real ring once, found it, and then I had lost another rubber ring. I think it went down the drain. I was washing my hands, it slipped off. And then the third, so a second rubber ring, I lost too, but then I found it. It was in like cardboard of something we were going to trash.
Yeah.
Like I guess I tossed it and the ring went with it. But haven't lost one since, so we're back on the right track, still married, so it's all good.
Yeah, I don't even have a tan line, man, and I wear a ring every day. And Sarah's like, "Where's your tan line?"
Yeah,
I ain't got one, bro. Well, I guess I got a little slight one, but
yeah.
it's my melanin.
Anyway, more interesting topics that the people may or may not care about. I did the Murph. I did the Murph Sunday. Never done
Nice.
it before. For those who don't know, it's like a CrossFit paradise. It's like the kind of go-to workout for Memorial Day or Memorial Weekend, and it's a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then a mile run. Typically done with,
20-pound vest.
yeah, for sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, because for some reason I was thinking 40. I was like, that's fucking hard. It's a 20-pound vest. I think women can do like the 12-pound vest. So makes it even harder. And I did it body weight when I did it because I'm a little bitch.
I was
And then
about to say,
also-
don't make up any
No, I wasn't
excuse.
going to sugarcoat it. But I'm glad I bitched out on that. And then part of it, I didn't want to aggravate the IT band. Didn't want to take a risk. Regardless, it would have beat my ass anyway because
Yeah.
the body weight version of the Murph beat my ass. I did it Sunday. I'm still sore today. Enough in my back that I didn't even really do but 2 sets of like exercise today on the back. Chest felt fine to like train today. But that was definitely sore. Legs weren't too bad, but again, mainly because I was doing a body weight. I don't think it was too bad.
Yeah.
But wow, it took me essentially like right at an hour. I might have been a few seconds before or after, but good, solid workout. The more I mix in these functional workouts, I realize how much I suck at them.
Yeah.
And I realize how different they are. And, I was telling Rich, who did it with me, a member at the gym, that my muscles are so used to A, getting a pump, and B, short bursts of 6 to 10 reps that they're really good for that. And then once we go past that, especially with short rest times, they're fucking toast,
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big obvious difference when I got to the leg exercises. I wasn't doing too bad. And I think it's because my body from all the running is used to rolling over the lactic acid and cycling that through. And so they actually had good endurance, especially when I went to do the second run, half mile in. My legs weren't as tight from all the squats anymore. They were actually kind of loose. But when it came to my back, a couple reps in, my back was tightening up and getting this pump. And I was like, no. I don't want to pump right now. I need to be able to move and keep these things going. So it's funny how you spend so many years training one way, and then, you do this workout. It's a different kind of genre of fitness, and it fucks you up.
I wish I did it. I know you mentioned it to me.
I'll do it again in a couple weeks if you want to do it.
Yeah, I definitely will. And especially since I missed, doing it on Memorial Day like most people do.
Yeah.
I wish I did it after the fact. Because, like you sort of mentioned, I've once a week. It's not really on a weekend. It's whatever day falls to where I just feel beat the fuck up after riding, running, and whatever. I'll just do like some HIIT circuits out in the gym. And after I did them one time, because my body was just wrecked one day, I was like, fuck it. Let me just roll myself through some HIIT circuits in the gym on the turf, battle ropes, medicine balls, slam balls, whatever. And I realized how unathletic I am.
Yeah.
And like, some people might look on the outside and be like, dang, he's got some muscle to him. He's probably a beast.
Mm-hmm.
If they saw me run, I look like fucking Frankenstein or RoboCop.
Oh, they tell me. They tell me what I look like. Yeah.
So unathletic. And I go to watch myself do a couple exercises like slams, slam balls, or like a medicine ball twist to the wall, like throwing it at the wall. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm throwing it fast as shit. But I go look back at it.
Sometimes it's sad, yeah.
It looks slow as fuck.
Yeah, when I'm running, I feel like, wow, I look fast. And then I like actually watch. So I like film, from my view, and it's moving fast. And then I see like the side view of Maddie films or something like that. And it's slow as shit.
Yeah, slow as shit.
Stubby steps, yeah.
And stubby, robotic. And it's like, man, I can't believe how unathletic I am. And maybe I've always been that way.
Yeah.
But it ain't helping with me just sticking inside my box of like bodybuilding and like, strength training and whatnot.
And like you said, looks aren't everything because, Rich wanted to get a picture, which I'm glad we got one after we did the Murph. And, I've been cutting. So like I had some abs, sweaty. It looked good. And he's got the vest on, a little more of a dad bod, but it's because he mentioned that in the bio. He's like, dad bod. One of us clearly has that or whatever. And I commented, and I was like, but dad bod beat lean bod by like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, looks aren't everything. And it's cool seeing, he's not some like elite athlete. And, he'll even admit, especially like the past few months, he's been in and out of working out because of vacation, work, whatever. Does a ton of work on his farm. But point is, even with his like lack of training over the past few months, he still has so much experience with this stuff that he could smoke me in any of the workouts we've done. Like he's been coming a lot of the times on the Sundays that I've been doing these functional workouts, and he'll come up with some exercise or circuit and blow through it with like double the weight, and I'm struggling with half of it.
Yeah, I've seen him. Speaking of Rich, I've seen him out there in the gym doing some like kettlebell or functional workouts. Not really strict or isolated things, a lot of functional work. And I'm sure like the work he does outside of the gym translates or transfers into the gym like that, like not farm
he's
boy,
got that
but
farm
country,
boy strength.
country boy strength.
Country boy strength,
like, where it's just that endurance to where it's like, man, is this motherfucker gonna slow up? I used to work, speaking of which, like a little side note, landscaping with this guy. Fat, huge belly, smoke and drank every night. But when we go to do landscape and like cut trees, mulch,
blow through it.
Dude would be like, "What the fuck you doing, pussy? You all show no go." And I'm just sitting there, and I was taking some fucking shit back then. I was taking Tren and all this other shit, and he was still blowing past me. I was like, fuck.
It's a different thing, man.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. You know what's funny too, because you just did it the same way I do it. Two things I'll say. One is, it's such a bodybuilder or powerlifter thing to call anything that's not bodybuilding or powerlifting functional movements. It's like is CrossFit functional? Some elements, sure, but it's like we don't know what to call it, so we just like functional.
Yeah, I see it as like if you're having to use more than just one body part type deal, it's like, all right, well, if you're having to use 2 or 3 like move or
I guess they'd be called more explosive or athletic movements, things like that would be a better better way to
I
describe
guess so,
it.
yeah.
I just thought that was funny because I do the same thing. I say, oh, it's a functional Sunday, when most people that follow me are probably like, you mean like a regular workout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows you how unfunctional I am when I call it that.
And then the other thing is you said slow up, and I say slow up. Sometimes if there's something things like, oh, I was driving my car and I slowed up like at this to this light or whatever. And Maddie like gets on me like crazy about it because she's always saying, you don't slow up, you slow down. And I always say, no, sometimes you're increasing the deceleration or the slowness, so you're slowing up.
It works.
Yeah.
It could work both ways.
I think enough people use the term that she's got to get off my case with that.
I don't know who else I hear slow up from, but maybe it might be
She said
you.
someone at where she works said it, and
I don't say it all the time, though, because I do say slow down.
I say both,
Yeah.
but sometimes it just, slips
You
out.
just got to slow up.
Yeah, slow up. That's right. That's right.
But I just rode this past weekend. Instead of doing the Murph, I rode a 30
That looked
miles.
like one of your best rides you've ever had, honestly.
Definitely.
Sometimes
at
the stars
first,
align.
I filmed it, and I'm gonna put together a fucking vlog, man. I'm sure you've been the same way.
Yeah.
People out there can relate to this. I filmed for like 3 weeks of just like random shit. And I'm like, man, I gotta finish this vlog. I just gotta put it into it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking chop the head off and film it, edit it, put it up. But I still haven't done that. But I did film the ride and my experience with it and whatnot, because it was my longest ride since January, since COVID and the clots and whatnot. And at first, the day started off not so hot. I got out there, started at Rockets Landing, got like 3 or 4 miles in, and I was like, man, my legs are killing me. Like, felt heavy, tight, hips were very tight.
This was during the few miles?
During the first few miles of the ride. Yeah. And took a ton of electrolytes, drank electrolytes before that, tons of water, food, packed some with me. And it wasn't until about, I remember looking down, it was like 8 or 9 miles in, I hit a stride. And in my head, I was like, man, I feel like I could go all fucking day.
Yeah, I know.
And it was like, and when I thought about it, I was like, how could I relate this when I talk about it? It's like, I imagine a coal burning stove, like a train engine, like a smoke train. And when that thing gets nice and hot and those embers are fucking glowing orange, and you can throw any other shit on it, it's gonna burn
I had
it
the
up.
same exact thought process and feeling. Thursday, I did a half marathon, so 13.1 is my longest in a while as well. And from like mile 7 to like 10, the same way. I was like, man, dude, I feel like I could do 20 right now.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like I could just go forever. I'm just in this like perfect groove to where I'm past the initial fatigue.
Yep.
I'm settled in, and I don't feel tired. I feel like I'm just effortless, right?
Yeah, effortless.
And then it catches up to you by the end.
It
like,
does.
Because I knew like once I hit like mile 10, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, 3's fine for today. 3 more, you know.
And
But
I made it
there's
out
that
to
zone though.
because I told myself I was going to do 30 before I even got on the bike. I was like, I'm doing 30 today, regardless of how I feel. 1 mile in, I don't give a fuck if I'm ready to get off the bike. Then I'm gonna just do 30, however long it takes. But got out there, got the rhythm going, made it to 15, and I almost got to that point where I got cocky and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go another 10. I'm gonna get 40. But I was like, you know what? Let me play it.
Yeah.
It's my first time doing this in a while, so I hit around, turned around, started coming back, and about another 5 miles after that, about mile 20, I was like, oh, bitch.
Reality comes right back.
Oh, bitch. My legs feel heavy. I'm glad I'm already on the way home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a good ride, man. It was a good ride. I'm excited because I'm going to probably go ride a little bit today, not nearly as much, but just something to get out there and get some miles in. And I've been enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to it because even though it's getting hotter, and I know Ronnie, who helped me out training before COVID and whatnot for the century that I was going to do, he was like, oh, it's going to be the hottest months coming up. But I know it's going to be a bitch, but I'm also like excited because I'm like, bring it on.
What I've learned with the heat is you need to give your body time to acclimate, and then when you can beat the heat and get there earlier, you want to do that because there will be mental toughness that you can gain out of it, and your body will acclimate and get used to it. But at the end of the day, if you don't have ice buffs with you and things like that to actually cool your body temperature down, even if you hydrate and have electrolytes, you will like run your body down. So it's almost like you just need to take more scheduled breaks, like maybe 20 miles in, find a shady spot, have some ice with you and cool yourself down like a flask. That would be my advice because I remember last summer when it first started getting hot and I could run, a comfortable like 8 or 10 mile, like moderate run, no problem. And then one day I went out for a run and it was like 84 and extra humid. I got to the 3 mile spot. I had to stop and like
Yeah.
the shade, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I am so under like prepared right now. And especially those first few, times out, you just got to like almost feel it out first. Don't go immediately would be my advice, and try and do like, let's say another 30 if it's like 90 degrees.
No.
Yeah. And not that you were going to, but just it's interesting. It's interesting how much it
I'm not
changes
going to
it.
say that I definitely agree that I'm the type that I would hang myself by
Yeah,
going
you try
out
and
there.
tough. Yeah, I get it.
I like
I've
to
been
push
there.
myself, and that's something that
Yeah.
I haven't always liked to do, but
Yeah.
recently I'm just like, give me more.
And it'll pay off in the fall
Yeah.
when it's cooler.
But I will say, not that this is the cure or this is going to be like the difference, like we're different or something like that, but when I'm able to go 16, 17 miles an hour, there's a big breeze compared to
That's true.
running. So when
That is a
when
big
I rode the
difference.
bike 30 this past
Yeah.
weekend, my back was sweaty, but I wasn't
Really?
sweating anywhere else.
That is a big difference, because I was today even I was doing 6, and I knew I was probably making a mistake, like not bringing any water with me, but I was like, it's 6 miles, like I'll suffer the last 2 miles, but it'll be fine, and it was fine. But coming back, I feel the heat on my back,
Yeah.
and it just feels like when I get to the shady spots, it's still heavy air, but when I get out of the shade, it's just beating you down.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It can be brutal.
And that's pretty much how it hits me on my back on the bike. My back gets the hottest, the sweatiest, but usually like everywhere else, even my face is usually dry.
Yeah.
Everything's pretty dry just because fortunately I'm going fast enough in most spots
Yeah.
to get a breeze going. It's like fucking wind.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that the heat's going to get anybody that's out there. It doesn't matter. I definitely agree. But it's been fun, man. I've been running a little bit too.
I
Not
saw
the,
that.
there's no really structure. I'm just trying to make it a point to where if I have a free moment, I at least go get a mile in just to get used to that. My ankles are killing me. My feet are killing me. My ankles definitely the most from running.
Have you ever rollerbladed or ice skated recently?
No.
I was
been
gonna say I feel
10
like that
years.
would kill your ankles.
Yeah. Like 10 years.
Because I remember when I was ice skating a few years ago at like a local rink during the holidays, and I used to ice skate and rollerblade a lot, like as a kid, and I was like, oh, this will be no problem. And I got out there, and like 4 minutes in, they felt so fatigued, like I was like Bambi, I had to take a break.
And the reason I've been running a little bit is obviously to find another way to challenge myself, and it's low hanging fruit. It's a cheap barrier to entry to run.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a membership to do it. You don't have to have specific shoes.
Just a pair of shoes.
It's nice if you have some nice shoes, but you don't even have to have shoes. You can run barefoot if you want to.
Could. Yeah.
But just fucking running, and I'm like, man, I suck at that. But just a little bit of improvement I've seen over the past 3 or 4 weeks that I've been doing it, and it's more so just getting, I guess, comfortable and confident in myself to be able to push a little harder. My mile time getting better and better, and I've been eyeballing months out, smaller triathlons of some sort to where I can, run, cycle, and even swim.
That's one thing that I was thinking about recently is I feel like you're like me where you want to prepare for a big event and you don't want to waste your time with like the little shit, right? Like, I can do a 30-mile ride, or I can do a half marathon on my own in my training for a marathon, for whatever. But I think there's a lot of value in doing those smaller races because you get a chance to kind of practice like you play. You get the experience of doing it around a bunch of people and like race day events and things like that. And that's something I want to do because I'm kind of eyeballing. I'll just put it out there. I just feel like it's like bad. I get nervous that there's like bad karma, like a knock on wood scenario. But anyway, I plan on doing the Colorado Springs Marathon in October because that'll give me a good time frame. Essentially like 14, 15 weeks after we move, so plenty of time to kind of train for it, and I've been building a good base. But I'd like to try and get in like a half marathon race sometime in like August.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like late July would be good.
That's
just to
nice.
kind of, again, feel some things out, push a little bit of a harder pace because it's a designated like race day,
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's easy to just set your eyes on like the like long goal. But the short little things help you build up the confidence too.
For sure. And obviously
me still training for the Century is gonna help when and if I go to do the triathlon. 'Cause triathlon, the ones I've been looking at are only like 15-mile rides, but that's not including a 5K and then like a couple 100-meter run.
And you can
swim.
push hard on the 15 miles.
But I think the main reason that I'm thinking about doing a triathlon, and even when I go to ride, I guess this is just in general, but it's not to compete against other people out there. Of course, yes, I want to do well, but it's for me to like get out there and sort of have something else that I can compete against myself. So I want to do a triathlon, have my time, and be like, all right, I want to train to beat that time.
Mm-hmm.
Or see how I can always keep it leveling up.
Yeah, it's good to have a measurement to compare to.
With my rides, I've been riding enough to where I have at least a little bit of a track record now to where like, all right, it takes me about this long to do a 30-mile ride. Can I either slow this point down or can I make this point to this point a little bit quicker, or whatever the case may be. But right now it's more so distance. But I'd like to have some more smaller goals, or a goal outside of just riding distance of the Century. Of like, all right, what can I do to like be competitive in a different way? I guess time wise.
Yeah.
And also, I haven't swam in forever. I'm sure I suck at that. I don't float.
Someone asked me the other day if I would do a triathlon. I was like, no, I will not swim, and cycling doesn't excite me at the moment. So
yeah.
Swimming
doesn't seem fun to me at all. But I think I could do it, especially if there's other people out there. Not that I'm just gonna jump in, not swim at all. I'm gonna fucking eventually start training for that.
I feel weird about pools the older I've gotten, because once I started working at AmFam and I saw like, okay, you add these chemicals, make sure everything's balanced, but I didn't know for the longest time that like if someone bleeds in the pool, that you don't do anything about it.
No.
Like the chlorine's supposed to kill it. And I get it. The chemicals aren't killing it, they're working. But the more you think about, how many times you went to like water country as a kid or some water park, and this kid's, his Band-Aids floating in the pool.
For sure.
Or just people bleeding.
Peeing.
Or, time of month type stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's supposed to be sanitary, but how sanitary is it,
Well, dude, I think of this as well. And I try not to think too deep on it. I'm like, fuck
you
it.
almost wish you could Men in Black yourself with things.
But I was at the river this past Saturday at the Rappahannock.
Yeah.
And everybody on the beach, what they're going in the water to do.
Oh,
they've been sitting on the beach all fucking day.
Yeah.
Everybody's drinking.
Yeah.
Even me including. I had a couple beers.
For sure.
And my wife was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get in the water." I'm
you're
like,
just
"I know what you're
in
doing."
Your pants.
Because she only goes out. And, you watch all, especially the females. The females do it the most. They walk out about waist deep. They don't go any further, and they just stand there. And I'm like, everybody knows what you're doing.
Yeah, you gotta not just
dip in and like act like you're swimming a little bit.
Yeah.
At least when I go to pee in the water, I'm like, I'm moving around a little bit. I'm shuffling. I'm not just sitting there with the tip of my dick.
Turd floats right behind you.
Just fucking sitting there letting it leak out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody in the river does it. And, but there's thousands or however many gallons in that. But people definitely piss in the pool. And it's probably majority urine.
Yeah, it's just something tough to overcome. When you know it's like that.
Yeah.
But again, you wish you could just forget. Just kind of like there's this video. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I feel like we might have talked about it on the podcast before. Strawberries. And if
I don't
you pour,
believe that shit. I don't think those are real.
For
that
people
news,
listening,
dude.
it's like you pour vinegar or something to basically like bring out. There's a shit ton of these like bugs and strawberries, like fresh strawberries, out of like the store, and they all come crawling like out of it. And it makes you not want to eat strawberries anymore.
I'm eating
but again,
all day.
I love strawberries, so I wish I could just like forget that instance.
They're good for you.
They are, and they're pretty cheap.
The bugs.
Yeah, dude. How about fucking prices, man? Oh my
God. It is what it is, man. I mean, they're high.
But here's the thing. That's how I felt like it's like with gas, right? What are you gonna do? Not get gas? You're gonna pay it anyway. And fortunately, I'm financially well off enough that like it doesn't drastically impact my living. But I think about the other people where they are living on paychecks, right? And they go to the store, and what used to be 5 dozen eggs is like $6.
Yeah.
Now it's 18. Now chicken that was $12 is 22. And all these things start stacking up.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. And no wonder I look at some of these people's carts, and they all got little bites and cheese balls. It's because that shit doesn't go up in price.
It usually doesn't.
It's only like the whole healthy foods that get fucked.
Yeah, it's because usually you have to feed the other shit to like make it, like
Yeah.
chicken, beef, whatever,
That's
like
true.
eggs. You have to feed that fucking animal to produce it.
Yeah.
So like just the cost of it. But I don't know, man. I at first I get a little
Your
pissed
eggs
off.
must be stupid expensive because you
They're
buy
still
the
like
nicer
$5.
eggs.
Like
$5? What are
$4.20.
you getting, one at a time?
A dozen. I eat 4 a day, so I'll probably get a dozen and a half a week. So I eat 4 eggs every morning.
How's that last you a week?
Like a dozen and a half, something like that.
Okay. So you buy eggs every single week? I always get like like 2 5 dozen or something like that. Like not 2 5 dozen, like two
all right,
5
so
dozen.
I probably do buy
So
2 dozen.
Yeah. that
So
way
like
I'm not
$10
getting
worth of
every
eggs a
single
week.
Okay. Yeah. Man.
And then I buy the store brand chicken breast. Those are still $1.99 a pound. And then store brand oatmeal, store brand. I buy everything else store brand.
You're
shit.
Mr. Store Brand for
Yeah,
sure.
and I've been that way before this fucking inflation shit. I've just been
Yeah.
like live as cheaply as possible.
It's still broke now.
So yeah, hey, dead serious. Dead serious.
Yeah.
I ain't got shit.
Yeah. We tried, we splurged a little bit, wasn't much of a splurge, but we got some pork when we went to Kroger last time because I was like, we always have chicken, turkey, basic shit, and I was like,
Pork
what?
what?
It's like pork tenderloin, like center
Okay,
cuts or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it said.
yeah.
So we got some of those, put them in the crock pot. Turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're having some of those.
Yeah,
now.
tenderloins, the fat content's much lower. If you got like some other pork, it's usually fatty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pork fucks me up though, man. I don't know what about it. It's pork in general. I can eat pork tenderloin, pork chops, pork sausage, bacon, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck. My guts immediately get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like immediately. I don't know if I have like
Yeah.
alpha gal or whatever. That shit where you're like allergic to certain meats or whatever. I don't know, but it's been like that for years.
Yeah. So, on a more serious note, you want to talk about the Texas thing? The shooting?
Oh, sure. I didn't really keep up with it.
Yeah. So, a couple thoughts on it. One, to what you just said. I saw it happen. Maddie, we watched the show or whatever, like usual at night, and she saw it pop up somewhere on, I guess, Monday night. We were just both kind of in that, awestruck, I don't know. It's like a crazy thing to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so you're looking at it a little bit. But the next few days, I was kind of like, it's usually just a lot of headlines, popping up from news sites trying to get attention. And I was like, you're not going to have the real details for a few days. And also, I just don't want to surround myself with all this, obviously it's horrific. So it's like, there's nothing I can do by just scanning through, reading headline after headline about how awful it is and just, what a tragedy. So sometimes I feel like these things are just, I don't know. I feel like there's only so much you can say or do about a scenario,
Yeah.
And they're always just kind of talked about or people repost things on their story for a few days, and they act like they're more righteous than you, I feel like, for posting about it. But then the next week, it's back to the same drinking party club story. So it's like, I don't know.
I think the best shit that people like you or I can do that probably don't have a huge pull and influence and or policy making within the government is focusing on you and those around you, being the best
Your
person
community.
you can be,
Yeah.
and leading by example.
Yeah.
So the kids that you raise or potentially have, you raise them to not be a piece of shit like that cocksucker was.
Yeah.
That was definitely a parenting problem,
For sure.
right? Like if that's a kid,
Every
he was brought up.
scenario.
It has to be. Where's the responsibility eventually lead to? You just can't be like, oh,
Yeah.
he's just fucking nut. You're just a piece of shit that raised a piece of shit kid.
Every single shooter that's like this, or probably even on a singular shooting level, doesn't even have to be mass
Yeah.
shootings, is the person, whether they have a diagnosed mental illness or not, they're clearly fucked in the head to want to kill another human being,
Yeah.
For that matter. And to your point, most of these people, you look into them, whether it's the Stoneman Douglas and or Parkland shooting or this one, or Sandy Hook, all that, it's always a troubled person exhibiting tons of red flags, oftentimes posting about doing this before they actually do it, and parents aren't around, or they're treated like shit, or they come from poor upbringings and these things like that. And I feel like, I don't know about you, but growing up in my school, in public school, there's a number of kids that I could have looked at and been like, hey, on the wrong day, pushed to the edge, this kid could be that.
Oh yeah,
Because there's enough you know, and I don't mean this in like a negative, I mean it in like a literal sense. There's enough losers in society that have nothing to live for, that want to get back and feel like they've been cheated or screwed in life, and feel like this is their only out for attention or for righteousness, or, you know, they want to kill themselves anyway, so they're like, I better go out with like a bang or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
There's enough people in the world that there's bound to be fuckheads and just, you know, absolute garbage of people.
I try to like play at different scenarios, and you know, I didn't give it much thought. You know, I remember seeing the news and whatnot, but it's like at the end of the day, it's got to be the way they were brought up. Like I was brought, if we could, me and you, being the way we were raised, and the culture, the way we were taught about safety of just those around us and treating other people certain ways. We could leave a pistol, a gun back here on this fucking table loaded. Yeah. Just theoretically, we could leave it here and it would never kill a person. It would never, unless it was, you know, a threat of some sort. You're going to protect yourself, obviously. That's the reason why we have guns. Second Amendment is to protect ourselves. But, like, it wouldn't ever just,
and don't fire itself.
Like, it's because it's just crazy, the thinking behind it, and how it's not like, oh, the culture, the way kids are raised.
Yeah,
certain
kids. That's one thing I wanted to get on, was like, it's obviously a cultural problem that, okay, part of the culture is inherently related to guns and them being legal in America, but people make just the dumbest arguments on both extreme sides. And one is like, oh, you know, Republicans or whoever says gun control doesn't work, but then look at Belgium, Netherlands, Japan, and it's like, okay, these countries have like a tenth at most of the population of the U.S. and have a completely different culture. I saw someone say this, and I thought it was so accurate. The same people in Hollywood that are like, we need to take away all the guns, they're acting in movies that glorify guns and gunfights and all the shooting and horror and violence. And so you grow up watching all these gun movies. You grow up playing Call of Duty and worshiping these games, you know, where they're shooting people and reviving, blah, blah. And then, you know, you have some mental issues. You have a bad upbringing, whatever. And these people just turn to this stuff because they I don't know if they don't see reality for what it is and they think life's a game or whatever. And so these things happen. So it's clearly a cultural thing. We do have a culture built around like guns and violence to an extent. And it's not one person's fault. It's not the guns, the inanimate objects' fault. But there's something that can be done. I think and this is the same with almost every issue, the vast majority of people are fine with coming to a compromise of, okay, we're not going to ban guns because that's not even feasible. And we're not going to do nothing because that's not great either. We can come to a solution of, okay, enhancing a little bit more of a universal background check, because there's already background checks, but the standard to which they're done varies from state to state. That's also like a myth that like goes around social media, that there's no background checks. There are background checks in every single state, as far as I'm aware of. Just the level of background checks
usually
varies.
You have to wait a day or
Some
two. Sometimes.
You can wait a day or two, things like that. I know in Virginia, it's I think one of the more lax states, but even with that, you know, it takes like 20 minutes, which isn't overly long, but they're going through a background check, criminal record, all of that. You're filling out a shit ton of paperwork. The difference is some states, you know, they might have a waiting period, or they might go through not just criminal record and criminal activity, but also mental health activity if you've ever been checked into an institution. But a lot of times, these killers, these people with problems, you know, this might be their first offense. So you're not going to catch them with criminal activity or catch them on a background check or mental health eval if they're trying to game the system anyway. You know, it's kind of like the idea of, you know, if you're creating a law to stop people who break laws. It's like they're going to break the law anyway. That doesn't mean you should do nothing, though. But I think, again, that's the compromise that most people can come to. But people love posting extremes on their stories or on Instagram or in public, or congressmen and women love talking about these extremes just to get political points. It's like we're playing this stupid game. That's why I don't even get involved with it, because it's a stupid game on both sides. You got the classic person with the American flag background, goatee, and sunglasses on with their AR-15 saying, "You ain't gonna take my guns." And then you got the other person that's like, "We need to ban and steal all your guns. You don't need to protect yourself, all this and that."
Yeah.
It's like both are wrong in extremes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And most people aren't there.
No.
So it's like, it's just, again, I don't even like to look at like headlines for this stuff because it's just drummed up drama so that people, you know, just have more stuff to talk about, you know? It's like
Yeah.
they stopped talking about Ukraine weeks ago. That's still going on.
Of course.
And then when they feel like it, they bring COVID back in the headlines, you know?
I guess if there's a will, there's a way. You know, you take away their gun, they're going to use a knife. They're going to use your car.
That's what happens in the UK. There's a
use
lot more stabbings in
a
the
crock
US.
pot bomb, you know, out of
Yeah.
a pressure cooker. You know, it's whatever. There's a will, there's a way. If they want to do damage, they
Yeah.
can do damage. But I think to answer, I guess, my question or give my answer to this question is, I think responsibility. There needs to be some type of mental like house check. And when I say house check, is like your closest around you, and getting your house in order and realizing that you have to lead by example and raise
We need to raise more responsible children.
or make responsibility a. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but like start at home first. That's how we fix or get the trajectory onto a better course, I believe, is starting at home, focusing on your kids and letting them be stand-up citizens and showing them the way to live their life and
Yeah.
lead by example. So hopefully they can be contagious to their friends and be like, oh, shit, they, you know, do the right things.
Yes.
I'm going to do the right things. You know?
And it's usually people that have never purchased or owned a firearm or shot one that have this misrepresentation of what it is, how the process works, and what it's like. Because, you know, when you're in a firing range or shooting range and you're surrounded by people with guns that can kill you, everyone understands the seriousness, respects the weapon,
Yeah.
and respects the situation enough to make sure they're following all the rules. They make sure they double check, triple check the gun's not loaded, or when it is loaded, they're making sure the gun is always pointed downrange. It's never pointed at someone.
Mhm.
And, you know, there are these safety precautions always in place because, again, these populations, these you know, firing ranges, these companies understand the seriousness. No one's out here just hoping that things go free willy-nilly. And a lot of the people that, you know, conceal carry everywhere they go, the grocery store, church, wherever, they have that same kind of calmness and responsibility to understand, you know, what they're carrying with them.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think if you're raised in a household where you understand, you know, what that gun's capable of, and you have that respect and responsibility of that item, you know, you grow up with a different calmness and understanding about it
And I guess like
versus being fearful of it.
maybe kids or some of these kids that have these issues or that are the cause of these issues don't realize what life is. You know,
That's
like,
what I think it is.
price of
Clearly,
life.
I mean, clearly they just got so many issues. Clearly, you know.
I
It's just
I guess
fucked.
we could agree to close it is like
Yeah.
that it needs to start at home for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
And then that would hopefully spread throughout the community and the country.
yeah. It's a multifaceted issue that
Yeah.
requires a multifaceted approach of
For
solutions.
sure.
So it's not one bill that's going to fix it.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. Not at
Yeah.
all. Because if there's will, there's way.
That's right.
Um.
In brighter news,
Yeah, I know. Switch gears, dude. Uh.
I heard you're working on a new formula.
Yeah. I have some things to get in order with this. You know, where I'm at a trajectory now with Gym Flow, to where, you know, we've been doing well. We've been having new products drop, and things are still going smoothly. It's just I'm at a point now to where do I want to focus on bringing our inventory? Because let me reverse this. Starting off, when we first started Gym Flow, we started off, in my opinion, way too broad. We spread ourselves way too thin. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I've had 2 or 3 people in the past couple days reach out to me via my YouTube channel where I've talked about how I started Gym Flow, and they asked me, hey, what's your best advice for starting off? And I'm like, hey, start with one. Don't try and spread yourself out too thin. When I say start with one product. Don't try and come out with 6 right out the gate unless you have mad loot. And we spread ourselves way too thin, and we probably could be further off than we were if we would have went all in on one product and got a shit ton of it and got it at a great deal to where we could have sold it at even higher margin. And this is just strictly business. This isn't like, oh, we're trying to like only it's all about cash,
Yeah.
but a business has to have a margin to stay in business.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now where it's like, do I want to continue to focus on newer products, or do I want to like remind myself to double down on making sure inventory is just stacked and I'm getting the best price I can for manufacturing on my products? So it's like, do I want to come back out with 3 flavors of pre-workout, or do I want to just hammer on one right now and like really see the long game of having inventory? Because sold out doesn't sell, if you know what I'm saying. Sold out doesn't
that is
sell.
the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. And it seems good. It's like, oh, if we have, if you have the inventory of multiple different SKUs of products, then it's like, okay,
People have variety.
yeah, they have variety. But if
It's pros
you
and
sold
cons to, I
out,
guess, everything. Yeah.
sold, and I think I heard it from Supplement Snoop one time. Is sold out doesn't sell, and it's like, damn, that's true. You got to make sure your ducks are in the order with inventory.
Tell that to Alphalete. They sell out all the time.
Yeah, but they have the cash flow to be able to
Yeah.
drop it right back in. And most small
Yeah.
businesses like me,
Yeah.
you don't have just cash sitting around.
No.
It's tied up in product, or it's
Yeah.
tied up in this or that to
It's
where
immediately recycled.
yeah, it has to be recycled. I don't make any money from Gym Flow.
Yeah.
So it's at a weird spot. Well, not a weird spot. It's at a spot where I'm having to sit down and really figure out what the next
angle you
move
wanna go.
is
Yeah.
and go from there. But we're only looking up.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think moving forward, and Peyton, he sort of got me thinking about this, and I don't see any problem with it. I only see any helping and being able to help others and give a good experience for pre-workout enthusiasts is getting away from some of these banned ingredients that are banned
Yeah.
by WADA or banned by some
Yeah.
of these federations, to where we can be able to help and reach more people that are competitors that want to take Gym Flow or want to optimize their performance, but don't want to get banned from whatever.
Yeah, he was telling me a little bit about it, and I think it's a smart approach.
Because for the longest time, I wanted to be hardcore.
Well, for the
and, like,
longest time, that's what it was about.
Yeah.
It was about if you got the most stem crazy pre-workout, if you got the hardest hitting. But nowadays, it seems like, not that Gym Flow's going to this, but
No.
it seems like less is more is
sure.
like the go-to, and you see plenty of brands just coming out, slapping together generic formulas that just have a few decent ingredients, and they're just hitting it with the branding and flavoring, and
Of
it
course.
is what it is. You
and
know?
I think there's room there to still have a top tier, like a premium level formula,
Yeah.
but it's still being just something. Instead of it being stemmed and being like, all right, where's the next rush?
Yeah.
I want the next crack ride of pre-workout or whatever product.
Instead of
that's out
feeling
there.
crazy, I want to feel good.
I want to feel good. I want to feel like I can perform on all cylinders.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a fucking rocket ship. It just needs me to fucking feel in the zone, get shit done, and do my best. And I think that's like taking a step back over the past few months, realizing that we're not that brand that's going to be the hardcore underground brand. I don't want to be that. I want to be what fuels performance and what feels good and it's going to last the long run.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I got some things to sort of look over, but I'm excited to keep it moving forward, man. And I think having some help with Peyton, as long as we can continue to have some more
passionate hands is always good.
Yeah, I just had another set of eyeballs and way of thinking, because I've been doing it for
And he's
so
with
long.
the young crowd.
Yes.
Even though he's my age, I'm not with the young crowd.
Me neither. And sometimes we'll sit there and talk about something. I'm like, why? And he'll explain it, and I'm like, all right, I get it. And that's what helps an outer set of eyeballs that
Yeah.
because I sometimes put myself in that box, and I'll admit that.
Yeah.
To where I'm like, nope, this is the way. Why the fuck would we do that?
Yeah.
But
I
it
get it.
matters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. What's the update on Iron Built? When are you
It's
cutting?
closing.
Yeah.
So actually, we kind of do have a date now. We should be leaving first few days of July. It's like 2nd, 3rd, something
Yeah.
like that. And Jim's still crushing it. Jim is still doing good. Been busy, which is good because a lot of new signups. Obviously, a lot of students coming back, but some more permanent ones as well, which is always good to see. And we've added 2 more deadlift platforms to the free weight room, which has been great. I think it was an idea that I'd been tossing around for a while, and now that we've capitalized it and got 2 in there, got more red plates, they're going to use. And
Nice.
it's good to see that everything. It's good to see when you buy a new piece of equipment, whatever it is, that it's getting used. I mean, it sounds obvious, but sometimes you buy something new, especially if it's specialized and it gets used here or there. But when something is used a shit ton, it seems like everyone's enjoying it.
Yeah.
It makes you feel proud and happy about that purchase.
Well, you're giving value. You like if you feel like, man,
Yeah.
I'm fucking hooking people
Yeah,
up.
you feel like you're feeding the members what they
Yeah.
want. And we definitely have this big powerlifting base here, which is happy to, it's great to have. And now that group can essentially just kind of like they already were doing, hang out in that same room, do all their bench, squat, deadlift, accessories, kind of all together in that room. It's been great.
Yeah.
So we added that, added some little things here or there. Got some more collars. We got a new squat bar coming in soon as well. I think this week or next. So that's good as well. And just adding on little things here. Still trying to plan out getting a belt squat sometime near the end of the summer.
Mhm.
Would be a nice addition as well. So the gym is moving along. It's doing great. It will continue to thrive in the hands of you and some members and trusted individuals with us being gone. And if it burns down, it is what it is.
Well, it had a good run.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
messing. But I think that's probably it for today.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you guys share the show. And you know what? If you listen to it on Spotify, I just realized this. You can leave like little star reviews on there. I know I should realize this, that there's reviews and stuff like that.
Leave reviews
I
everywhere.
know you can leave comments and share it. I know you could share it, but please give us a hookup if you have been enjoying the show and keeping up with it. Help us help you so we can continue making these. Leave us a review, put up some stars, and share the show. Make sure you tag us. We'd love to see it in your stories, what you're listening to, what you liked about the show.
Yeah.
We do this because we enjoy it, man.
Absolutely.
We spread our story. Hopefully, y'all get inspired by it and get out there and move it forward.
Absolutely.
We'll see
you
y'all
guys.
next week.